Good morning. My name is John Holmes, a member of the Church of the Advent and also a member of the Archive Committee. This morning we'd like to talk a little bit about mission churches that were spawned from the Church of the Advent. If you talk about mission churches, you are always talking about statements like ours: let Christ's light be seen in us. Another example of a mission church today is St. Margaret's up in Boiling Springs. And their mission is to joyfully and without hesitation celebrate and embrace God's love through worship, fellowship, service, and sacrifice. Overall, the mission of all churches is that spreading the gospel is what this church and our other mission churches are all about. When you exit the sanctuary of the Church of the Advent, you will see a sign that says, "Go and preach the gospel." There's a phrase or a statement by or attributed to St. Francis that I prefer, and it is as follows: go and be the gospel. Today, the average Episcopal Church has 71 communicants. By those standards, the Church of the Advent is known as a corporate church, and that puts us in the top 3% of Episcopal churches in the U.S. Outside of Trinity in Columbia, the two largest parishes in the Upper Diocese are number one, Christ Church in Greenville, and number two, the Episcopal Church of the Advent here in Spartanburg. The Advent has a long history of being the gospel, so let's take a look at some of the mission churches the Advent has spawned. And let's start with the first mission church, Epiphany, which today is 127 years old and still has mission status. Today, only 6% of Episcopal churches in the U.S. are black. In 1860, Episcopal churches in the South were approximately 40 to 45% black. In 1879, the Advent had 45 black Sunday school children, and parochial reports of the Diocese of South Carolina quantify black births, deaths, marriages, confirmations, and attendance. We must remember that a lot of these numbers come from the Diocese of South Carolina, which we might call the lower diocese. At the beginning of segregation, Bishop Gadsden pushed for separate churches for blacks. In 1893, our rector, Theodore DeBose Bratton, took the ball and Epiphany was born. The church is the oldest black church in Spartanburg in its original building and is only one of several buildings that has survived the urban renewal of the South Side. The current senior warden at Epiphany is Lester Norman, who shares and continues an outreach of Epiphany with some 8 different projects. They initiated in 14 community gardens, summer baseball camps, and involvement in the Carver and Mary H. Wright schools. The garden produces food for local organizations like the Soup Kitchen and Mobile Meals. An interesting note is in 2018, they supplied over 12,000 pounds of sweet potatoes to those institutions. Under Dr. Pendleton, 2 missions were formed in 1913, St. Timothy's and All Souls. St. Timothy was located at Arkwright Mills, and also All Souls were located at Spartan Mills. The women of the Church of the Advent really were the missionaries to make these two places happen, and they managed all the business at these two missions. At one point, they had 2 full-time employees and 1 deaconess. These 2 missions also helped educate the women in the mill village for child care, sanitation, sewing, cooking, and canning. After 32 years, both were closed. In 1957, under then rector Caper Satterley, St. Matthew's became a mission and later grew into a parish. It has grown under Rector Rob Brown, who served as a priest here at the Advent under Clay Turner. In 1960, under Caper Satterley, the St. Christopher's became a mission and later a parish. Today it is back mission parish status, and Debbie Apaldo, whom we all know, is currently vicar. All in all, the Advent has started 6 missions. 1 mission has grown into a parish. 3 missions still have mission status, and 2 have closed. In closing, I would like to end with an Irish prayer, since the Irish were pretty good at prayers, and it goes like this. If you'll please bow your heads. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the rain fall gentle upon your fields, and the sun shine on them as well. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen.